This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Today we have a very special top 10 because it was basically suggested by one of you guys in a recent video that we did about Frostpunk. And it wasn't about Frostpunk, it was about long games that take quite a while. And they came up with an idea of what are the top 10 standee games of all time. Now, doing my research, like I usually do before I make this video, I tried to figure out, where do I draw the line, okay? Because there are some games that have a bunch of standees, but they also have some miniatures in there. I think I included them because if you have standees, it counts, okay? There was a bunch of games that were basically of the same name, just different versions of it, Gloomhaven. And do I just count Gloomhaven as a whole? / Frosthaven, and their two expansions, the Jaws of the Lion and all that. Do I count it as a whole? And that's what I did. I counted it as a whole. And then there were games that had options for standees. You can either get the miniatures or get the standee version. Some of them I did not because the miniatures made such a big part of the game. Oathsworn you won't find on this list. Even though they offer you a standee version, I just felt that because of the miniatures and how strong of a presence that they played, it kind of disqualified them. So sorry, Shadowborn, even though I love you dearly. So I did some thinking here, and I think I came up with a pretty good list here. At number 10 was Folklore The Affliction. Now this, for the most part, was a standee game, but it gave you an option of miniatures. The miniatures are great and everything, but you don't need the miniatures. The standees work perfectly well, especially with the paper maps. I found, especially in the combat section, you wish you had those cardboard maps. It's one of the flaws, I think, of Folklore, is that you're so terrified of ripping those little paper maps that I ended up, laminating everything. But it works perfectly well if you use standees. I think it does a fantastic job. It's one of those things that it doesn't have to. It's a good game. It's a game that's really underrated, to be honest with you. Folklore The Affliction in at number 10. At number 9 is a game that I think is pretty good. It's pretty solid. It's Stars of Akros. The standees are really, really nice in this. The miniature expansion that you can get for it is very nice as well. But I find that in this instance, it's almost better to play with the standees instead of getting out all the miniatures and everything, because of the way how you fluctuate from, fighting, then to story, then down onto a planet. Sometimes just having a bunch of standees ready is a lot easier, and that's why this one qualified at number 9. At number 8 is another one that you can get the miniature expansion, but you're going to pay through the nose for it, and that's ISS Vanguard. This is similar to Stars of Akros, but a lot better. I really like what they did with Vanguard. Vanguard is very solid, a lot of fun, and does a lot of really neat things. I love how the management of your ship and your crew, you're not playing with just one medical guy. You've got like 100 medical guys, when it talks about your crew and stuff like that. And it really just is a very interesting, very deep game. If you haven't gotten it, go over to Miniature Market. They have it. And it's just one of those games you're really, really going to enjoy if you really like ship management and a fantastic, fantastic story. At number 7 is Mashina Arcana. Now this is a this is a horror based game. It's a horror type of dungeon crawl. The standees are beautiful in it. This is just one of those games because of the size and how you can keep it in front of you. You don't need the miniatures. I think the miniatures are overkill if there were miniatures for it. That's why I really like this one, and it's higher on our list because of number 1, the story, the gameplay, and how the standees fit perfectly for this particular game. So at number 7, Mashina Arcana. At number 6, if you like survival games, this one really does it really well, and that's Dead of Winter. And I think the standees are perfect for this. It can get a little busy on the board with all the standees. But this is a game of mistrust, survival, just very well played out. It's just a fantastic game. If you haven't played this, you really need to check this out. This is just one of those games that you don't need. Again, the standees really do a great job, and you don't need the miniatures. You don't need the overkill for it. And I think it really does a lot of great things. So Dead of Winter at number 6. At number 5, well, it is the conglomerate. It is Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, /Frosthaven, Jaw, or whatever. I put them all together because it's basically the same gameplay. This one was the one that had me scratching my head a little bit as far as whether I should include it on this list, because your characters, you don't have standees for them. They are strictly miniatures. Okay? But everything else is standees. And they are beautiful standees. And they do, it fits well. The combination of miniatures and standees works very well, especially in combat, which you are going to spend a lot of time in combat and trying to fight your way through things. This really does a great job, and I really enjoy it. Gloomhaven, long, very big story, and having those standees really helps. At number 4 is an all-time great game, and probably one of the most beautiful games you will ever play. It's Legends of Andor. It has a few expansions for it. It's by a company called Cosmos. You are telling, there is just this beautiful story, and you have to go through, and the art is phenomenal. It's a big board game, and it's one of those games that's just very special, and I really enjoy it. But once you play it a few times, you kind of get the gist of it. The replayability is, I played it about 6 months ago after not playing it for about a year or two. But it's one of those games that just stays in your collection, even though you kind of know how it might turn out. Just a fantastic game, all in all, a great standee game. At number 3, now this is where things really got tough, and I'm going to explain something too when we get in between 2 and 1, why I left a couple other things out that I really want to hit home here. At number 3 is Dungeon Universalis. Now, Dungeon Universalis is a fantastic game. Fantastic. And it utilizes the standees perfectly. The thing is, I wish there were more. Okay, there are so many in there, of course, but there are, when you go to the bestiary, there are just millions of others, different combinations of things and stuff like that. And you can sometimes reuse some of the standees for some things and not. But I wish there were just more of them. The standees are really nice looking. The art is fantastic. Everything they've done with Dungeon Universalis is a home run and a win, no matter how you look at it. It is one of those must-have games. You have to have this game. So those of you that went on the Kickstarter and were able to do it, hey, let me just tell you this much. You are not going to be disappointed. This is a fantastic, wonderful game. At number 2, a game I recently got, and that is League of Dungeoneers. The only reason this is a little higher than Dungeon Universalis, I find that when it comes to these two games, it's like how when I compare Dungeon D100 and 4 Against Darkness. It's almost impossible because they're both so good for what they do and how they do it, that I find with these two, I battle, one day Dungeon Universalis is there, the next day Dungeoneers is there. It depends how the wind blows. But Dungeoneers with their standees, the thing that's so important about it is that it has a backing. So you have a front and a back, because facing is very important in the game. Great dungeon crawl, fantastic, wonderful game, and really just hits it out of the park. And I really, really love this game. Number one, I love the standees. The art is tremendous. You have some massive standees in it, which really add to the theme, and it doesn't lack for miniatures. And that's how you know, out of all this list here that I've got here, is when I think about these games, is that do I miss miniatures with these games? And I don't. And that's why they're on this list. There are games that on this list that you can have the miniatures, but they don't add anything to it. Okay, it's just for bling's sake. I feel that you don't lose any gameplay with the standees, and so far with these 9, that's exactly where you are. Now, one of the things that I left out is Dungeons and Dragons, because of the pawn thing. Dungeons and Dragons is a theater of the mind. Do pawns add to it? If we did that, we could be talking Pathfinder, just about any role-playing game. I was looking at specific board games for this list, and that's why some of those things are left out. Or else, there's plenty of games that we could have just said, oh yeah, okay, and put role-playing games and put them in there. But I wanted to include straight up physical games, board games that were made specifically for standees, and that's why at number 1 is Arkham Horror. Okay, the Richard Launius, fantastic, glorious version. You can lump in Eldritch Horror if you want to, fine, okay, but I think Arkham Horror and all its expansions with the standees and trying to close gates, the Cthulhu universe, just fantastic. It's an all-time favorite. It's one of those games that when you get to the table that you can go. I have the miniatures for the game. I actually have the miniatures for the game, and it works very, very well. And it does so many great things and wonderful things with the miniatures, because you can put the little standees on the back of the miniatures, and that works really fantastically. But the thing is that when it comes right down to it, you can just play with the standees themselves, and you don't lose anything for it. And that's one of the beauties of Arkham Horror. You could do it either way. Your investigators, you can go cardboard or you can go miniatures, and you don't lose anything. It depends how you want to do it. Now, Richard at conventions always has all the miniatures out. It just builds a little bit more excitement. But neither one takes anything away from the game, and it does a fantastic job of just encapsulating how beautiful and how wonderful an experience, and an older game that still stands the test of time today, because it's often compared to Eldritch Horror, and the latest edition, and people say it still holds up. Of course, Fantasy Flight, looking to make money, like any other company, tries to reinvent itself when they should just print more of this wonderful, wonderful game by Richard Launez. So there you have it, folks. My top 10 Standee games of all time. I hope you enjoyed it. James Dunn, I hope you enjoyed this as well. Until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We will see you soon.